what's the exposure there? I mean, they're not all within a year of retirement.
They're usually your more experienced teachers. They're not all living here, but
It's not selling.
Eventually it does come.
I don't think that's the answer you're looking for.
I don't think
So
so.
what's the plan for remediating that? Because the problem exists,
The
obviously, so
problem
we
will
have a
always
plan.
exist. We will always have students who get to first grade who are not ready to read at the beginning of first grade. We have taken on our title campuses, we have teachers who teach reading recovery in the morning, and then they work with other students or work with teachers to make sure that we're improving frontline instruction. For these non-title campuses, they don't have additional funding coming their way, and so if I were a principal on that campus, first I'd have my heart attack, and then I would find a place for that teacher to teach first grade. And I would structure my first grade so that we would have the kind of fidelity to implementation of our balanced literacy program, that we would be able to use the balanced literacy program to take all students forward. There are still students who need a tremendous amount of additional help. And those students would need to go through the response to intervention process.
So are there things on this list that we could look at and say, okay, the price tag for X program is X amount of dollars, and then we have to decide, we can save that in a year or 2 years or 3 years, but what is that going to cost me down the road in further remediating that child or remedying that situation? And it's not just reading recovery, and I don't know the answer to that, but I'm cautious about saying, oh, we could save however many thousands of dollars here, and then suddenly you wind up going, well, gosh darn it, our second graders can't read, and now our third graders can't pass tags because they didn't have reading recovery. So do we have a reasonable expectation that the remediation option is less expensive than this, than just paying for the program up front and being done?
Well, I'm going to respond.
I want to be sure that I understand.
Let me respond to that way you're thinking about it.
Well, I'm going to hear the question a little bit more.
I'm looking at the global piece, and Penny's going to focus in on the actual CNI piece. One of the things that happens when you reduce funds or reduce staff, and everyone knows it's going to happen, then there is this energy to see how we're going to make it work. That's just the way educators are. We know we're going to lose something, but we know it's of value, and we bring everybody together and say, okay, what are we going to do in the short term to kind of shore things up, to see where we can get for the next year to 2 years down the road, to see where our finances are and still not have the kids suffer. Yes, there's going to be some adjustments. Yes, are we all going to be doing extra work? Yes. Are teachers going to be staying longer after school? Yes. Is that instructional environment going to change during the day to meet the kids' needs? Yes. Are we going to hear some complaints about it? Of course. Because this district, for so many years, and I'm proud to be here in this district, has been able to marshal the resources to do the kinds of things that Penny and her staff have been able to do. For example, the reading recovery, the reason that got started was several years ago, we had special state monies that came in, they weren't local monies, to allow for districts, high school allotment monies, to experiment with things to help with dropout, all the things that we're doing. Those soft monies, theoretically, are always supposed to be used to see if this is something the district can integrate and be a part. It's never meant to spend the rest of your life on supplemental funds. It's just that we're getting cut off a little shorter than what we thought we were going to because of the budget deficit. So it's working. They're right. We have to have credit recovery, or the dropout rate will go back up to where it was, and we won't have a way to capture kids. But the same thing with reading recovery and other aspects of what Penny works on. We're all going to have to rethink this. What's nice about the board making this decision now, with the resolution on the 13th of December, is that now we have make up our minds about this, it doesn't give Penny and her staff and the principals and the teachers much time to go through this adjustment.
One of the things that we started saying to the principals early on this year was that in this economy, we are going to have the opportunity to reinvent ourselves every year for several years. We might as well look at it positively, because that's what we have to do, because it's not okay to let children fail. So that means that while we have the resources we have in place this year, that every principal's job was to make the best impact on frontline instruction, to make sure that every single student got everything possible while we had the resources we had. And then to begin thinking proactively from the beginning of this year for next year, for the kind, if we are losing, for instance, the credit recovery in a tenant formation, then what could that begin to look like? How can we still provide a service but reconfigure what we're doing? And so when we have on our campuses where we have reading recovery teachers, we're maximizing what they do, not just for children, but what they can do with adults. And if we can keep those 6 teachers on their campuses, and the principals are willing to really go for the frontline instruction, we could make all those float higher. But it's going to take everybody on the campus recognizing that it's different, you will work differently, you will work harder, and we will all have to work together in order to make this happen.
And Penny, most of our non-Title I elementary schools do not have it. So we're already using those reading recovery strategies, because every school has kids that come to first grade. I mean, so we're just talking about embedding those even more so in using the curriculum codes.
We do need a tighter implementation on, most of our campuses are really into balanced literacy in the younger grades, and that has made a huge difference. It always makes a huge difference. Having implemented it on 2 different campuses, it was night and day in terms of how many children were. How many children were not ever taken to special ed by comparison. It's amazing. So we can give those skills, but we just have to be sure that we are completely aligned across the district, every campus, all central office personnel, everybody who goes to the campus, that these things have to happen for children consistently, every day, to our best, every day.
Did I hear you say most of our campuses use balanced literacy? So some do not.
Correct.
Is that not a district
It's a district initiative.
policy?
It's not a policy. The policy says, each local says that the teachers will teach guaranteed viable curriculum, and that they will implement differentiated instruction so that all students learn. Our strategy, because it is a high-yield, research-based strategy, is balanced literacy, but not every campus is the case. I would
Should
like
they be
to,
required to?
that's not my.
That's another discussion.
I just wanted to point out one thing, since we're sitting in this budget workshop. Now, we have the board, the administration has given us this list of cuts. Now, all these cuts that we're talking about, or not even cuts, I want to say there's reassignments of whatever, however terminology you want to use, are coming from the administration. And what we will be doing with our resolution that we have here is that we're asking them to cut a certain amount of money from the budget for this coming school year. Now, this is where the governance clock comes in. We all remember that from our TASB, ISD days, where we're telling them that we think that they need, what we want to do is to cut $10.6 million from the upcoming school year budget. And we have the whereases and the wherefores and everything listed here. And our job as a board to ask them to make sure that they cut now. They've given us examples of where they want to go for it, where they're going to cut, but it's going to be up to them to make sure that they cut that 10.4, or 10.6, I'm sorry, and to do their best to approach that. So we have here, and as Linda has said, that we were getting updates on how it's working through, so we know we have the information. But this